Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2, where we are in the city of Tampere. And I just gotta say, what we did on the last episode looks absolutely amazing. I love the details that we got on this little hillside build. I like that we finally built up on this mountain a little bit. I like that we got the university in here and some of the smaller details. Like I like that we got the park in here, the community pool. We kind of rearranged the high school a little bit, which it is kind of like a big cul-de-sac, but honestly, I think it looks good. And then coming over to this side, we added in a whole development, and we did a lot of retaining walls, which I think look really cool. They do provide a little bit of an issue when you're zooming into them, but you know what, it looks really good. I like that we got some of these plazas in here too. We provided a lot of housing, which is really what we were trying to do. And so on today's episode, we're going to be doing quite a bit. We need to work on our transportation. So when it comes to transportation, we really only have a couple options for people right now. And as you can see, using a taxi is one of the biggest forms. And so we have quite a few bus lines, and a lot of them are being utilized quite a bit. Like you can even see this is at 129% utilization. So we could even jump into that and just kind of check it out, see what we're working with. So bus station to bus station, it looks like these are pretty big. It would probably be smart if we could up this a little bit. But honestly, what we're going to do is work on some of the metro, and then we'll be able to come back and kind of rebalance a lot of this as we move on. We do also have a tram line, and we're sitting at about a 37% utilization rate. We generally only have the tram running through here, and then we have it kind of looping around this bus station over here. But as you can see, a lot of these stops are pretty full. And the cool thing with the trams is they're a little bit bigger than the buses, so they can pretty much scoop up most of these citizens just with one stop. And so let's go ahead and jump right in. The first thing we are going to do is actually work on some of our cargo. We are having a little bit of traffic issues routinely over here right now. It doesn't look that bad. But what I want to do is kind of rework a little bit of this. And the reason why is because we need to just clear up a little bit of this space. And so what we're going to do first, we're going to pause because we're going to get a little crazy. We are going to delete that. We're going to delete both of these. We're going to bulldoze all of these parking lots. And I know it sucks. We spent a lot of time on detailing for this. Get rid of all these. Let's get rid of those industrial. We're going to get rid of those. And then what we're going to do with the dairy farm is actually move it over here. And I think it's actually going to be a little bit of it's going to be kind of a cool look. And so we'll go just like that. And I would like to get our road upgraded. So what we're going to need to do is come all the way down and move this water tower first. We'll move this over here because I do like the aesthetic of the water tower. I don't necessarily want to lose that. And so we will now upgrade this all the way down. And then let's have that road go straight, connect up with this road. And then let's actually upgrade this road going all the way down as well. And we do need to get rid of some of these pathways first, all the way down. Perfect. Look at that. And one of the reasons I left this like that is because we are going to be adding in a little bit of connectivity to our highway over there. I feel like it's just going to be really important for us to do that. And so let's go ahead and move this over. This would be highly unrealistic, but honestly, it's just for the moment. And then let's go ahead and shift this. I think we're going to shift it over here. I feel like this is just a really cool location for it. And then as we get the Economy 2.0 update, we'll probably be able to even place some stuff across the road, which could be kind of cool. All right, so now what we are going to do is relocate our terminal, and we want to bring it over here, but set it back a little bit. You can kind of tell we have a little road that's causing some issues. So we'll go back, try that again. I want it to be parallel with the road, but we want it to be set back just a little bit. And we want it to be a little bit farther away from that terminal. So if we go all the way back here, let's go ahead and go like right there. Fantastic. Train lines are kind of confused right now. They're not really sure what to do, but what we're going to do is upgrade that. And then I think we may even, I wonder if this would fit. I wonder if let's slide this over just a little bit so that we could potentially even fit that in there. Cause I think that could be a cool little addition. And voila, just a few seconds later. And so we are going to be utilizing a one-way road. And I have found that having the building on the right side of the road tends to work out a little bit better. Having the trucks take a right turn into the building a lot of times makes it so that they don't break as much, and so it does make it a little bit faster. How much faster? I mean, not a lot, but honestly it does help. And so we're going to go ahead and bring this up now, go like that. Perfect. And so now we have created our lovely terminal. We need to move our bus terminal again, so we're going to grab this and we're going to bring it all the way over here. We're going to place it right there. I think that's a pretty good location. And I do want to potentially move around some of the roads in this area as well. So let's go ahead and shift this over. I just feel like it's going to be a little bit better for us if we can extend this arterial This arterial is a pretty important connection for our city, and so being able to have that cut across could be extremely beneficial for us. Like this goes all the way down over here and even provides connectivity to our master plan community over there. So let's remove some of that zoning real quick, and then let's actually slide this over. I'm wondering if we go this way, voila. And I wonder if we could even fit one more in there. We can't, no. We'll just have to wait. It's not the end of the world. I think this looks good. Again, we could even have this continue on and potentially even get rid of this connection. Kind of wonder if that would be a little bit better. It's going to provide a three-way connection though, and so I think we're going to keep that like that for now. And then let's go about seeing if we can fit this in here. We can't, of course. I took a little too much room, so let's slide this over a little bit more now that we have the bus terminal gone. And then we can come back in here and let's see. So it does look like it's going to fit. So let's go ahead and move our water terminal over, water tower. And then let's put that viewing station up there too, especially now that it's on that little island. It's kind of cool. And then I want to place one of these down just more for the aesthetic. But it does also provide, so it says no track connection. Yeah, we understand there's no track connection. All right, so I guess you gotta place this first. So we are going to turn on snapping, and we want to come around, and this is gonna be kind of tricky because of the ground, but you can kind of see it moves up, and so the train doesn't necessarily have to climb a hole. It's not a really big grade difference, which is kind of good. So we will come all the way down again. Let's go ahead and go all the way out here. Come on, you can do it. And of course it is having a little bit of an issue with that other one. And there we go. Perfect. I think that looks pretty good. And then let's go ahead and move some of these lines. I think there's more than one. Yeah, there is. Perfect. And then let's upgrade some of these to double tracks so that we can provide a little bit of a buffer zone for the trains coming in. I do want to have that on one side. I don't really want it to be, if we go like that. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing here as well. Turn on snapping, go all the way down. Fantastic. And basically what that does is it just provides like a little park zone, like a standby area for the trains as they come in. We do want to make sure that we didn't mess up any of our connections here. No, that looks pretty good. I think this is kind of interesting. I think what I'm going to do is actually go into the soften terrain tool and just move that down a little bit. All right, and just a few seconds later, we got these in, and I did have to rework with some of the retaining walls a little bit. This one was just way up in the air. I wanted it to be a little bit lower. And so I think that already looks a lot better. And so we can go ahead and unpause. This is going to create a little bit of an issue for all the trucks that are going to be trying to figure out where they're going. But I think this is going to look, so no track connection. I don't understand what's happening here. All right, so I tried to place in the warehouse, and for some reason it's just not placing. And so what we're going to do is actually delete that, and then we are going to place another one. And I know we're going to have to redraw in a lot of those terminals, but honestly, I'm not worried about it. So we will now place this down. Let's go like right about there, and then let's see if that's enough room for our warehouse on this side. It looks like it is. I think we need to go over just one more step. All right, and just a few seconds later, we got it in. I was able to squeeze that warehouse in. I did have to demolish it and then rebuild it. But honestly, I think it looks good. Let's go ahead and throw in just maybe a couple small things of office space in here. And then I do want to have a small road go in the back. And then I think what we're going to do is just look up some warehouse industrial buildings, just because I think it's going to look a little bit cooler. So if we go into find it and search up warehouse, what we can do is find a building that just kind of looks cool. Like I think this one actually looks great. So we'll go into the line tool, and I think we have to rotate it 90 or the opposite direction. I think we might be going the wrong way at this point. Oh no, that actually worked out. Let's get off randomize. We want these all to be the same, and then we do want to increase that step. Yeah, we'll go just like this. Fantastic. And look at that. And it's just an easy way. Maybe these are like private organizations that are storing goods and stuff. And then, yeah, I think that looks good. I like the overall appeal. And so now what we need to do is actually connect up over here. And it looks like we had some sort of crazy crash. Like, man, look at this car. It like rolled over. We got this car. Where are the police? Yeah, this is like a taxi too. Man, that's not good. Minivan, a taxi rolled. And then we got this car way down here too, and it's a muscle car. I'm guessing that guy was going way too fast. He's probably blowing through here, hit the taxi or something like that. I don't know why our road service guys didn't show up. They normally do. Maybe it's because it's on the freeway. It's a little bit farther away, but whenever you're in the city, you'll actually get like a road service kind of thing, which is cool. So now what we're going to do, we are going to create an on-ramp for the freeway here. So we are going to have this go straight. And then I'm going to grab a single lane one-way highway connection. We're going to go all the way up. And we're going to turn this in. And I think we don't really need to get too crazy with adding an on-ramp. I think right here is probably good. So we want to take a look at that. We're going to need to adjust our farm a little bit. So we're going to go down here. We're going to grab that area tool. We're going to shift it back just a little bit. We don't need to get too crazy with this. We just want to make enough room to be able to get the on-ramp in. And so we're going to go just like this. We may even need to go just a little bit farther. I don't know if I've gone far enough on that. Oh no, perfect. And so now we can go back to our on-ramp road, go like this and connect it up. Fantastic. Look at that. And so the other side is definitely going to be a little bit trickier. Okay, and just a second later, I was able to get that in. I do want to kind of fill in this little space real quick, just so that it's not as awkward as it is. I think what we're going to do is turn off snapping, and let's just get a small little commercial center in here. We're not going to fill in a lot of the space, potentially even an office park. I think an office park would probably be smart here. So we'll go ahead and turn that, and then let's go ahead and have this come this way, and let's turn it that way. And then let's just do some small little office buildings in here. Yeah, I think that's good. And that's just an easy way to kind of fill in the space, make it look a little bit better. That makes it look a lot better. And then let's do a small little bit of commercial right there. And we could turn this into a roundabout. I don't really know if it's entirely necessary. And so now for this side, what we're going to do is just do a quick little livestock farm because it's a dairy farm. And then we'll be all cleaned up with this new area. I actually kind of like some of the big changes. We didn't really get too crazy with it, but honestly, we kind of solved a lot of problems with that cargo hub, especially with the upcoming update. All right, and just a few seconds later, we are finished. And I think that this overall just works a lot better. Now we have provided access to the freeway. So now there's access over here. They can get to our terminal. And then there's people, you know, if they were to do a pickup or a drop off, they would have access to the freeway going this way. And so I really think that we have done a lot to just make this area a little bit better. And it really goes to show how sometimes just a couple small changes like that can really go a long ways. And so now we are going to move on to Subway. And this is really the big project of this episode. And so what I'm thinking, and I absolutely love Subways. Subways are, in my opinion, one of the best forms of transportation. They move a lot of people. They're not inhibited by things but like traffic or lights, and they tend to be really cost effective as well, especially in the long run. They do cost a lot up front, but in terms of overall maintenance and stuff like that, they do tend to make their money's worth over 10, 20, 30 years. And so most cities could benefit from having a subway if they're in a large enough metropolis to where people would be able to, you know, maybe not buy a car anymore. They would be able to just rely on public transportation and really save a lot of money. And so one of the cool things, what we're going to do, there's a couple main ideas that you can take whenever you're doing subways. You can do like a big loop. This isn't generally as realistic. You don't see huge loops a lot of times in metro networks. I think because of just the overall cost of creating dead space. So it's a little bit easier for them to just go end to end. So we're actually going to create 3 lines. We're going to have a line that originates over here by our industrial zone. And it's going to come over here and probably connect up right in front of our little switch on area. And then it's going to go straight. And it's going to have a stop right about here. And then it's going to have a stop back here. And so one of the things with Metro, don't worry if they're too close. What you're trying to do is you're trying to make it convenient for people. It is already going to be the fastest mode of transit within the city. And so having a stop that's within, you know, a couple minutes from each other really isn't the end of the world. What matters is that it's a 10 to 15 minute walk. A lot of times people don't want to walk 10 to 15 minutes. And so within a train, it's only going to take like 2 minutes, 1 minute, you know, potentially even less, 30 seconds. And so having those stations next to each other a lot of times can just improve ridership. So that's going to be the first line. We're going to do a line that's going to come from here, and we're going to kind of plan out a downtown area. We're not going to be working it on this episode, but I want to place a station in here. And then we're going to do a station over here, and then we're going to have this station cut in and actually provide a station over by our bus terminal. And then we're going to have this go up and terminate right here with the station. And so the big line for our city is actually going to have a station right next to this one. It's going to come all the way over here by our little schooling, kind of high school area. It's going to stop by our bus station. It's going to stop over here to provide a transfer opportunity to this line going this way. And then it's going to go straight, and it's going to provide another station over here next to this line that connects to our downtown transit hub. And then it's going to follow this road down, another station down here to provide access to our industrial hub. And then it's going to follow all the way around with the station ending right here. And what this is going to do is really provide a much easier way for people to get around the city and hopefully cut back on our overall taxi usage. And so the first thing we need to do is build out our rail yard. And I want to first off probably boost our train lines. We're using 10 out of 10 right now. And with us potentially building out like maybe an airport this episode as well and stuff like that, we're definitely going to need more trains. And so I've identified this location over here as our rail yard for both the train and also the metro. And so what we're going to do, it doesn't look too hilly. It's definitely got some movement in elevation, but it's not like cliffs or anything like that. So what we're going to do first is lay down our train one. And we're going to put the train rail yard right next to the train line. It just makes it a little bit easier. And so we do need to be mindful of the elevation change for this. And so you can kind of see there's just a really big hill there. I want to start off right here. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to go all the way from up here and I'm going to create a nice gentle slope, especially for cargo rail. It would be really hard if they were, carrying a lot of tonnage to make it up any sort of steep grade. And they do. They end up going really slow if that is something that they do have to do. So I don't want you to think that they're not capable. They are capable. It just takes a really long time. All right, so now that we have that, before we hook it up with anything else, let's go ahead and place in our subway rail yard. Subway rail yard's a little bit easier, in my opinion. We're only going to use this as a dead end. We're not going to have this loop into the system. I think it just makes it a little bit easier for us. And so for right now, what we're going to do is turn these off. I would definitely want to get into the habit of this before Economy 2.0. And so let's draw in some of these lines. What I'm going to do is just connect these up in a really easy way. You really just want to find your main lines. And then, so it looks like we're still in subway. We want to go over to train and then just connect them up. I try to do it in a fashion where it looks as realistic as possible. I've never personally worked at a train yard though, so I can't speak from firsthand experience, but I try to, look at photos from Google Earth and stuff like that to create a little more of a realistic dynamic with these. All right, so just a few seconds later, I got these connected and we can go back in and hit play on these. Now I do want the city to run. I think it just looks a little bit better if I can run the city. And so let's go ahead and connect up some new lines in here, and then let's go ahead and do the upgrades for this as well. We'll go just like that, connect up our new lines, and then that does create some more connections that I need to connect up. All right, so just a few seconds later, I am at a place where I feel pretty good, and it does look like I forgot a connection in here. And so we do need to, this would be a pretty important connection, especially I think that's to our maintenance yard. And so we would want to, maintenance is good. And so I think we would definitely want to have this one connected up. And so we will just go like that. And I'm just going to have this one go straight if I can. Perfect. Look at that. So one of the cool things you can do just to kind of make these little areas look a little bit better is to just actually have a couple little lines go in and out. So we'll have this go like this, fantastic, and then we will have this go down, perfect, and it just makes it so that there's some parking spaces for maybe trains that are out of commission or something like that. In my opinion, I think it looks a little bit better. Whenever you see big rail yards, they're normally like this, but they're huge, you have all these tracks that are kind of, meandering in and out of each other. It's really cool. And so I think by having that, it just kind of makes it look a little bit better. So now I have fed our metro line, and it at least starts to go underground right here. And so let's start placing down some of these stations. We're going to go back into the subway panel. We're going to go to underground subway station. And so I want to put this in a location where it's going to be the most impactful, potentially off of the main road. I think that this would be good if we could get it over here. I think we'll go right about here if we can. It looks like there's a pathway, of course. So we need to go in and delete our lovely detailing. But it's okay. It's all in the name of progress. So we are going to place this right there. What is the problem? Of course, it is an anarchy related issue. So we are going to then just place that in by using anarchy. And then let's come through and just delete these trees that are kind of in the way. I think we'll keep those bushes. I think maybe it looks cool in a certain couple settings. We're going to come back through and detail a lot of these. So now we have that one. We want this one to continue on and provide access up here. So we are going to go like we want to turn off anarchy. So we are going to go like right about there. And then let's continue straight. We want to go like right about here. And then we want to go all the way up here. Let's go ahead and go. Yeah, I think this corner is pretty good. And then we will connect those up. And this is actually pretty easy. Most metros operate at negative 20 meters. And so you just kind of go to negative 20 and connect them up. There is issues whenever you're dealing with water or mountains. And so like in this case, if you go across, you can see it's kind of going into that water. And so the game really doesn't want me to continue going that way. What you can do is just have it stop in the water, and then what it does is it kind of dips down. And so we're now going to come up, and then we will now connect it up. Fantastic. And then let's go ahead and continue this on. We want it to go this way, and then we want it to wrap into our station. Fantastic. And you know what? That's pretty good for our first line. So we got connection right there, connection right here, connection right there, and connection right there. And these connections are a little bit closer. I wonder if maybe we could even slide this one down. That could probably be good. So if we were to delete that, go underground, and then put the stop like right in here, I think that it would just cover a little bit of a wider service area. So if we go just like that, fantastic. And then that way we can grab our line, which is now not in the correct location. It's okay though. We will go like this, and we do want to make sure that we're not going to be at some sort of full grade. So we're at like 14%. Let's go ahead and we're going to trim this back. And what we're going to do is actually have this turn so that it doesn't have to go underneath the water like that. So if we go like this and then go like this, what it's going to do is allow us to just kind of sidetrack that a little bit. Nice. And so that way we can kind of extend these a little bit further apart and cover definitely a wider surface area. And so now for the second line, so we got this one. We want to get one starting from like right here going up, and then it turns and begins to go over here. So let's start off with this stop, because this one's going to be the most challenging to kind of work with. We got so much going on. We got a lot of use of anarchy. There's just a lot of problems. So I think what we're going to do is delete that park, and we want to try to get it like right in here if we can. This would just be ideal. So let's go ahead and turn that off. And you know what? It looks like I think we could even get the stairs on this side. That would be absolutely amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on anarchy, because for some reason it's telling me that these poles right here are causing an issue with it. And so I think that looks good. And I like that we got the stairs kind of in here. It is a little bit on a hill, but honestly, I think this is a really good location, especially once we get it connected up. And so now we're going to have this continue on. And this is going to provide a connection for a line that's going to come off of this road. So we want to kind of be mindful of how far up we go. So I think what we're going to do is actually put it in like right in here. Yeah, I think that's good, because then it's far enough away to where it still provides value, but then it's not going to cut into this other line that we're going to have going across. I really can't wait for us to get like some multi-platform stations and stuff like that, because definitely it's kind of frustrating when you just can't get something like that in there. So I would like to get another station in here, but you can kind of see there's a little bit of a problem with the heights. And so I think what we're going to have to do is probably go a little bit further. So if we go all the way out here, we may have enough time to kind of duck underneath that and provide some much needed accessibility for that area, which would be really nice. So we'll go ahead and place one right here as well. And then we're going to come all the way down, and we're going to place one right here on this corner. We do need to delete some of these pathways. I know a lot of those details that we put so much time into are now getting upgraded, but honestly, this is just how it works sometimes. So now that we got that, I'm going to go ahead and connect these up real quick. And just a few seconds later, I was able to connect those up, and it looks pretty good. I did have to have it go down right here, but honestly, it really wasn't too big of a decline, and so I felt pretty good about it. So then last but not least is really our golden line. This is going to be our big one. So we want this one to have access to our park in here. This is a really central location to this suburbanized neighborhood, and I think it looks really cool. This was one of our earlier kind of buildings, and so I'm wondering if maybe even back here would be a good location. Like, could we fit that in there? Yeah, we can. So let's go ahead and place that right there, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to have this cut in. We want it to be right next to that bus terminal, and then now that we have that, we will have this turn this way, and we do need to be mindful. So we have this stop. We have a line coming this way. And you can tell where it's kind of going to cause some issues. So we want to provide some transfer opportunity, but we also want to provide enough space for us to be able to go underneath that one. So I'm wondering if we go right here, yeah, we're not going to have enough space. So if we just come over here, we're going to put the stop right here. It's still kind of close to those other stations, but more importantly, it allows us an opportunity to go down, which is really what we need to do. Fantastic. And then let's go ahead and follow this road down. We want to have a stop like right in here, preferably closer to a crossing. And then we will have this wrap all the way around. And I think we're just going to put it in right here. Just makes it a little bit easier rather than having to deal with those heights. And I'm just going to connect these up. All right, so we have all the lines in, and so now, last but not least, what we need to do is connect it up with our rail yard. So we are going to bring our rail yard all the way down, and we want to make sure that's connected. I'm pretty sure it was, but sometimes you just never know with these. So we will bring this all the way down, and we want to just connect it up with this the station right here. And it looks like I'm a little bit high. Perfect. And then we need to connect up these lines with each other. And so one of the easiest ways to do this is actually just to have it disconnect and then have it go like this and then dump into the other line. Perfect. Go just like that. Fantastic. And then we do need to have one more connect up with this one. I think we're going to probably bridge it off from this section. And then that way we can just have it dump in over here. I do actually kind of want to follow the road with this. One of the biggest issues with this would be obviously having to dig up underground. Like you would have a lot of property related issues just putting this all in there. And so now let's go ahead. We have our connected lines. So all of our lines are connected to our subway terminal. We have all of our stations. We do need to go through and upgrade all of our stations, give them the eateries. But for right now, I think we're at a place where we can start drawing in these lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw lines in through all of our stations. And then we'll go through and upgrade them all so that they have the little shopping malls and stuff like that. Because it really helps to boost the overall comfort and attractiveness of the stations. All right, so I got all the lines in. So now let's go ahead and jump into our transportation tab, go to subways. We want to kind of change the colors. And I was thinking more like a yellow for this one. And then let's do like a light blue and then maybe like a red. And so let's go ahead and check out our lines now. I think it's going to take a couple minutes for these to populate. I think I'm going to let it run for a minute just so that we can get all these going. And then what I'm going to do is go through and actually give all the upgrades for these. So you just want to do this station services. It really makes a huge difference in how many people utilize the stations. It's quite a bit. And so you definitely want to have the upgrade. All right, so I went ahead and let the game run for quite a while. And we actually have a lot of ridership on these. I do want to name these. And so for our first one, this 840 passengers, 26% usage, which is our line that runs from here all the way over to here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do like uptown to downtown loop, or maybe uptown to suburbia. I would like to come up with names. Maybe if you guys could come up with some fun Finnish names or something like that. I think that would be a little bit better. I really don't know any Finnish names off the top of my head. And so maybe that's something that you guys can leave in the comments down below. And so our blue one, I want to do like downtown to midtown, maybe. Something like that. So we will do downtown to midtown. And I know that this is kind of going in the opposite direction. Like if that's uptown over there, like how is this midtown? And it's best just not to think about that stuff. So we will do midtown to downtown for this one. So we'll do industrial to, this would actually probably be midtown or maybe all of downtown. So we'll do industrial route, industrial express. I think that would probably be good because this one primarily focuses on the industrial zones. And so I think that is pretty good. And so let's go ahead and check these out now. So we have 27% utilization with 867 passengers, or 62. It doesn't look like any one stop is getting a lot of usage, which is good. And we actually do have an underutilization of the trains, which does kind of suck. We only have 3 trains at the moment, and none of the trains are actually super full, but I wouldn't drop it down to 2 just because it would increase the headway for a lot of these stations. So I'm almost wondering we need to look at how many trains we have available, because I wonder if we get 3 trains in there. So we have 8 out of 15 used. If we get 3 trains in there, then what's going to happen is it's going to decrease that headway or the wait time and potentially increase the amount of ridership. And so if you can add another train in the loop and just make it so that people aren't having to wait as long, then in theory, they may end up choosing this over driving or taking a taxi, which could alternatively be a faster mode of transportation. And so let's go ahead and check out those other lines now. We'll go back to red. So we have 105 passengers a month with 5% usage. It's actually not very high. So let's go ahead and check this out. So we currently have 2 vehicles. We don't really have a lot of people waiting. And this is more of a future-proof line, I believe. So the red line is this. Yeah, so the red line is the one that does our industrials that we named it, Industrial Express. And so this definitely is more of a connector. I don't know if it's ever really going to get super busy. There's a lot of really great connections with this route already. But the good thing with this one is it's intended to go this way and to branch off once we start expanding the city in that direction. And same with the blue one. So the blue one has expansion plans. We are going to be actually expanding it this episode. Let's go ahead and check out some of these stops. So this one's actually got some people waiting, 124, 39. That one just got picked up 6, 10. This one's getting picked up 91. So this actually looks like it has some pretty good usage. I'm tempted to bump this one up to 4 as well, just to kind of see if that's going to inhibit our overall ridership of taxis. And I do want to also go into city policies. You get to that by clicking on this city information. I want to increase that taxi rider fare. It's because the city is investing in transportation, so we would want to have some sort of tax on taxis to inhibit people from using those. Let's go ahead and move on. So we are going to be working on this area today. We actually have some fun stuff planned. We are going to be expanding out our low density residential because we got a huge need for that. We really haven't been playing around with low density residential that much, and as a result, our city is in dire need of it. So let's go ahead and place that right there. I hope that that's straight. Yeah, that's pretty straight. And I do want to have this come down now, and we need to create a freeway connection for this because this is really going to be an integral connection for this area. And so we're going to go ahead and go up, go across, and then go down. And then let's go, we're just going to have this dead end right now. We really don't need to do anything with that. Like we could probably connect this one up. I don't really know though. It's same with these other dead end connections. We're just not really doing anything with those spaces just yet. And so the first thing we are going to do is actually place the small airport. And some of you may be asking, why is he placing the small airport? Well, I'm placing the small one because it's just a little bit easier to place in. The international airport is massive, and so I think we're going to end up placing it over here. And honestly, even over here, it's kind of a small space. We're probably going to have to dredge up into the water, which I think is actually going to be something kind of cool. Other than that, we really don't have a lot of space. Like we probably could put it over here or over here. I do kind of want it a little bit closer to the city though, and so I think having like a regional airport over here is actually going to have a huge benefit to the area. And so we are going to place this right here. And this is also a good entryway into air transit. Maybe the city, wants to kind of test the waters with ridership and stuff. And so we are going to do all the upgrades. So we're going to do the airport services, which is all your shops and restaurants and stuff, which are super important in an airport, especially if you have layovers or something like that, or if you have to get to the airport early, like nobody wants to not have options for food and stuff like that. And so we do have a rail line that came off of this, and I do have an intention of connecting that up. So let's go ahead and connect that up before we really do anything else. And I want to get into the freeform tab. We're going to go like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to bring it all the way over here, and we want to make sure that we don't have any crazy drops in elevation. I'm going to go ahead and just leave that like that for now. We may even drop that down. It does look like we have some sort of crazy hill over here. So what we're going to do is actually trim that back, and then we are going to level out a small section. And you could say like maybe they had to purchase this land, this right away in order to build the train line. And so they were able to sell some of the resources that they gained through excavating out that small portion. And that is something that you do see in projects. And so I think that looks pretty good. We provided 2 lanes in either direction so that you can have trains waiting if there was some sort of issue like that. And overall, I think that's pretty good. We do need to connect up a couple rail lines. So let's go right here, and we're going to come all the way over to the cargo hub that we were working on previously. I think we're going to go ahead and go like that. I don't know why this one's, I think we messed up on that one for some reason. So let's, so we did. So we need to go from here all the way over here. And it's kind of funny. I wonder how long that's been like that. I was under the impression that it automatically connected, but I don't think it did. And so it's kind of funny. You guys may have noticed that first. You're like, it's not connected. So let's go back. We are going to connect it up. Let's go to this one because it has a little bit more space to turn around. And then we are going to connect this one up to our other terminal. I think by connecting it up to our local routes, what we're going to do is really provide a lot of flexibility for people who are maybe trying to ship things within the city. And this is how you can really cut down on your trips for trucks. Because trucks are a huge deal, especially like if they're coming over towards the airport. Like this would be a big deal. And so now what we're going to do, I really want to create a space where we're going to have some offices, maybe some shopping. We want to turn this into kind of a hub. We're going to have a couple rail lines that are going to come over here. We could even potentially do above ground. I don't think we're going to though. Then we are going to do some farmland going all the way around. And the reason we're doing the farmland is because I think it really provides a cool look a lot of times. If you have, at least more realistic, if you have kind of this encroachment onto the agriculture, because it is something that you do see in cities. Like cities at times will have a lot of agriculture. And then what happens is over time, the agriculture slowly starts to dissipate because things like this are encroaching on it. And so there's a huge span of agriculture. And then, the regional transportation authority decided we're going to build an airport here and actually purchase some land. And then this is how it kind of gets urbanized over time. And so let's go ahead and drop in our subway lines. We're going to place one right here on the corner. This is a pretty good spot, and it provides that crossing access. And we're going to go ahead and place one right here. And then what we're going to do, let's go ahead and connect these up. We're going to go down to 20, bring this all the way down. And then what we need to do is connect this up with the other line. And so what we're going to do is actually hook it up with our blue line over here. And the intention is for us to connect this up. We're going to grab this line, and what we're going to do is actually drag it all the way down, because we want this to be the end of line now. And so we would come all the way down here, go like that. And then we can come over to this stop, grab our station or little line, and then create 2 stops for it. And then this is where it gets kind of tricky over here. It's a little bit hard to see like which direction is going where. But what we want to do is definitely have a little bit. Yeah, we'll go like that. I mean, that looks good. It's hard to tell which one's which coming down this way, so I'm not sure if we actually got it going the right direction. But either way, it's going to stop there. And so the train may have to cross each other if I end up putting it on the wrong side. But again, that's not going to be the end of the world. And so the first thing I want to do, I really want to get some office parks in here. So we are going to create a little bit of like a shopping district in here. And so we're going to actually have this come up, and then we're going to turn, then we're going to turn again, and then we're going to come down, and then we're going to go like this and then turn towards that. And this is going to be kind of like a little plaza of some kind. So we could probably even squeeze in the big plaza. I think that this could actually be kind of a cool addition for this area. I kind of wonder if we could even play around with that road to kind of tighten it up. I think that that could maybe even look a little bit better. So if we went like this, brought it down, brought it over, perfect. And so the cool thing with this is it really helps to kind of add some more value to a lot of the people in here. We're going to be doing some office space. We'll probably end up doing some high-rise apartments and stuff like that. And so we want to be able to provide that value for these people. So now we will come all the way up. Let's go right next to the water. And then let's go ahead and bring this one up as well. Probably keep that centerpiece as a park area. And let's go ahead and bring this across. Let's bring this one across as well. And then I think we're going to actually probably bring this one all the way across. So we'll go like that. And then let's go ahead. We need to kind of manage some of these crosswalks. I think what we're going to do is actually cut that one right there. And then we'll actually cut that left turn too. Yeah, we'll go like that. And then let's go ahead and cut the left turn out of here too, just so that we don't have people. Like if you're on that side of the road, then you can cut in here. But honestly, there's already an intersection over here, and I really don't want to get kind of crazy with that. So before we really do anything else, I want to place a high school. We really need to do a high school. And a lot of times high schools are more in prominent locations, centralized. Maybe it has something to do with, especially in America, like the students having access to cars or something like that. But you generally will have high schools on like main roads. And then I want to put the sporting facility. We haven't been able to put that in a lot of our areas. And so I think it'd be kind of cool to put that there. I think it looks good. So we will have this come down now, go like that. Perfect. And then let's actually have this one come down. And then I think we will have this kind of wrap up. It would be good if we could somehow get this to come down and maybe follow all the way down. I don't know if that's going to really work out well though with what we have planned, but maybe we'll just go like right here. This could be good. Yeah, we'll probably just go like that and then have this dump in there. I hate to see that big road being underutilized, but maybe this is something that as the city grows, they'll decide to build more. All right, so let's go ahead and check out some of our fertility for this area. So this is where I kind of find it a little interesting. I wish they would have expanded the fertility for Cities Skylines too. Maybe I don't know enough about this, but I think if you're in a city that has good soil, then you generally have good soil. Like I don't think good soil are in small patches like this. And so I would really like to see maybe for the vanilla game for them to expand this. Like I understand why they did it. It's kind of, makes it more challenging. Like, oh man, I got to put a farm in these small little areas, but it just doesn't really make sense. And so what I want to do is actually come in here and we are going to paint this whole side. And so the idea is that basically this is, this was all farmland. And then they had to actually purchase a lot of it for their development. And so I think that this is just a really cool way to kind of capture fun look in here and also to bolster your fertility. And so, but go ahead and give me, what do you guys think about that? Like if maybe there's somebody who knows a little bit more about agriculture, like if you have good soil within your city, is it localized like that? Like, is it only going to be like really small areas, or what's going on, And so, because I do think maybe I just don't know. So what we're going to do now is create a couple other small little zones in here. I really want to get some residential. I don't want the residential to be necessarily that close to the flight path. This would already kind of create a lot of noise pollution for these people, but it is something that you do see. Like, I mean, you generally have airports in highly urbanized areas that are around residential areas. And so let's go ahead and extend this out now. We are going to shift this over, and then I want to shift it up, and we'll probably have it terminate right there. And then this is where the current farming is probably going to begin. And so I do want to also create a small business area over here on the corner. Let's go ahead and bring this in. And then what we're going to do is probably have this just cut down. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And so what I'm going to do is just throw in our farms real quick. All right, so after a little bit of time, I have finished, and I had the intention of making it this large. I know that's probably the first thing you guys are thinking is like, wow, you really did a lot. But I wanted it to really reflect, the encroachment of the airport onto the agricultural land. And I really felt like this was going to help capture that. And this is actually something that I did see in Illinois as well on my travels, where I saw a bunch of roads that were being upgraded into farmland. And what happens is you eventually get people who are purchasing the farmlands and building homes. And then you actually get developers that will purchase large sections of it and then turn it into homes and stuff. And so that's kind of what these would represent, is these were small, farming homesteads that have been purchased by private investors or developers, potentially even in corroboration with the airport. So maybe they were building the airport and then they decided to purchase up a bunch of land to lease back to people to build homes or commercial uses or office or whatever it is. And so now what we need to do, we need to do a couple services first. So we're going to go into police. Let's go ahead and look at some of our police. I know we don't have a very wide coverage on police, and I do get quite a few notifications from our little chirper of people saying that it's unsafe. So right now we have a 28.6% crime success rate. That's actually pretty low. 905 criminals. We have 45 sentenced to prison, even though we don't have a prison at the moment. So they're just being held in jail, I would imagine. Yeah, so criminals 59. So 45 plus 9, that doesn't really make sense. I don't know where these people are being held, but I think it's in the jail somewhere. And so what we need to do is place another police department. And I'm tempted to even do a police headquarters. I'm potentially playing around with an idea to put one in there. Maybe let me know what you guys think. But I think what we're going to do is actually place it right over here. And then we are actually going to put the medical clinic right next to it. If we kind of zoom out, we can see we have medical clinic right there, a couple crematoriums. We have a hospital right there, which does provide some pretty good coverage. But we don't have a medical clinic on this side. So I think what we're going to do is actually place it right there. And then let's go ahead and upgrade the fire department. We want to have the extra garages. And then let's go into our medical clinic, give it the extra ambulance bays. And then let's actually put the little extra clinic right there as well. It's just as a buffer. I know in Economy 2.0, we're probably going to have to readjust a lot of those just based off of the overall cost. But I think for right now, that's probably good. And then let's go ahead and remove the lights from these. And then I'm actually going to remove the crosswalk from that, and probably the left turn and the left turn. We don't really want people kind of cutting into this. It's just a little too close to that intersection. Whenever you have two intersections like this, though, it's just a little bit tougher. And so it would almost be better to just remove the crosswalks on the inner side. So remove, and then that way people can really only cross on the opposite end. So this is almost like a big intersection with just a little intermediary phase in the middle. We did a police department. We did a medical clinic. Let's go ahead and get a fire department in there as well. So we have one fire department over here. We have our fire station, fire department. We really don't have a lot of access to fire coverage over here. So I think what we're going to do, I'm potentially thinking about even just putting it over here. We'll go like that, and then let's go ahead and upgrade that garage because that's super important. And then what I want to do also is place a welfare office. We really haven't focused too much on welfare offices. We really only have 2 within the city. And so I want to try to provide that benefit over here. So we're going to go ahead and place that right there. All right, so now what we need to do is connect up some of these other roads, and we really want to ensure connectivity in here. So I think what we're going to do is actually create a small little commercial center in here. So I'm going to have this road come back. And then we'll probably have a smaller road dump off in the middle somewhere. We could probably even just have an extension right there. And what we're going to do is put a small park in there. And for these areas, what I want to do is actually create a little more interest. So I think what we're going to do is come back and we want to kind of curve this up. And then what we're going to do is come down here and then we're going to curve. And then I want to come back down this direction and then connect it up. And the reason for this is because we really want to create some office parks that are both intriguing and also add value for the tenants. We don't want to just have office parks that are squares. You want to provide shopping areas. You want to provide areas for them to have buildings. And so having different shapes like this is going to really help to capture a more vibrant look. And so what you can do as well is actually bring roads all the way out from the end, similar to what I do for residential as well. But what this does is it makes it so that you have degrees of separation around the outside, and then you can kind of create a little bit more of an interesting look. And so for this side, we're going to do the same thing, but I kind of want to do something a little more adventurous. I want to bring this back and I want to curve it up and I want to follow along this same line. And then I want to curve it back, and we really need to capture 290s for this. So we're going to go just like that so we can grab those 290-degree angles, and then we're going to have this dump in, and we want it to start at a 90, but then we want it to kind of curve in. And the reason we're doing this is because it just makes it look a little bit cooler if you can get these kind of connections in there. I actually worked in an office park that was kind of like this. The road layout doesn't really make sense in terms of efficiency, but that's really not what it's for. It's for the aesthetic appeal. So we're going to go like this, and then we're going to turn this down. We're going to go just like that. And then let's go ahead and create a couple small little areas in here for us to do. So maybe I'm thinking we could even go like this and then have this go down. I could have that continue on over here, but honestly, I think that that's probably okay. And so we will have this be like a little cul-de-sac. I'm kind of wondering if maybe we can even have that continue on or even jet down and connect down here. So if we go like that, yeah, that could be interesting. It's definitely a different kind of look, but honestly, once you get the office parks in there, it starts to really look cool. And so that's when you really start to see the benefits of using different road layouts like that. And so for the residential, I'm going to basically do the same things over here. I want to have connectivity, but I also want to have some centralized locations for a park. So I think what we're going to do is actually borrow a design theology from Crater Lake, and we're going to come all the way down, and we're going to create, I kind of want to copy that. So how far was that? Of course, so 72 meters. We want to bring this out 72 meters and then come all the way down. And we're going to put a park in the middle. And I think this is just a really fun design. And it is something that, you could see from developers, especially if they're trying to woo people into the development. And so we're going to connect this up, and then we'll use this as like a green space in the middle. So we'll connect these out, and then that way we could even go further. Yeah, we'll probably bring this out further. We'll do a pathway around the outside, and then we will put housing all the way in. It's just a really fun design. I think what I'm going to do is replicate that for this one as well. And just a few seconds later, I got those connections in, and you can even, to make connectivity a little bit better, you can kind of bridge these across. And I am trying to keep the same level of distance on each side just to create a little bit more uniformity. But this is just really fun designs that you can use for residential parks to make them look a little bit more unique, but also function really well. Another thing that you can do is kind of just do roads around the outside. And one of the cool things with this is it actually provides an opportunity for you to kind of separate and then have these just cut across. And then what this does is actually create space for parkland and stuff like that so that you can create some really fun areas. Okay, and so after a little bit of work, I am finished, and I did end up changing this one as well. I think this looks pretty good, especially for, some low-density residential and some office space. I did end up adding in some little roundabouts and stuff and just kind of creating some interest. For the residential areas, I was prioritizing separation, as with most low-density, especially urbanized developments like this, you're really going for privacy and separation. But with the residential areas, you're going more for like a luxury kind of look. Like if we want to attract some high-value residential, we really need to make it a little bit nicer. And given because of its proximity to the airport, we're not going to be able to get high density. But over here, I think we'll be able to get some high density. And so I just added in a few little circles, some interest. For this one, it does appear as though I didn't keep it outside connections. That would be pretty important. That's a huge oversight. Like, I feel like if the engineers, had accidentally done that, they'd, be in some major problems. It's kind of funny. So we're just going to connect this up real quick. And then what we'll do is actually we'll start looking at things like parks and little small assets that we can put in here to make it just look a little bit better. So for our residential areas, I definitely want to first off, we need to get schools. Let's go ahead and do schools first. So we need probably 3 elementaries for this. Elementaries for some reason are just kind of crazy. You need a lot of them. And so I think what we're going to do is actually remove one of these roundabouts so that we can place this right in there. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and do one down here as well. I believe this one might actually fit. I'm going to turn off snapping. Yeah, it will. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and put one up here just for redundancy. You do get a bonus for having a proximity that is within walking distance to an elementary school. I honestly don't even know if we're going to be able to fit it. I think we may have to delete some space to get them in there. I wonder if maybe in here would be a little bit better. So we're doing this whole area as residential. I'm wondering if we should, so if we unpause, so we're already at a 28,000% capacity with 23,500 for this. Yeah, I want to get one more in here. So I'm wondering if we can, let's go ahead and, the roundabouts look great, but I think if we place a school in here, it would just be a little bit better. So we will go ahead and try that in another location. I'm going to put those roundabouts back, and then I actually want to provide some accessibility for this as well. I was kind of looking at this, like, there's not really a lot of access to that other side unless you're down here. So moving on, I wonder if we can place one right here. I think this actually could be a pretty good location as well. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So if we place that right there. So let's go ahead and give the capacity upgrade to all of these. And while we're doing that, we hit another milestone. Milestone 17 unlocked officially. Flourishing Metropolis. Congratulations. Thank you, game. Things are looking good. I really appreciate it. And so we have 5.4 million simoleons, which we have like 300 million. And so it's just kind of a drop in the bucket at this point. We have 19 development points and 41 squares. And so we have a lot of development points to spend at this point. I think we're pretty close to being able to unlock everything. Elementary's in, which is going to give us some really nice coverage. Let's get some parks in here now. And so I created this kind of bigger space in here for us to be able to get a park in. I want to do a big kind of custom park similar to what we did before. I think it would just be kind of cool to get like some skate parks and stuff in there. So I think we're going to put it like right on the entrance. And I would prefer this to be in the middle of those 2 squares just so that it's a little more level. And there we are. And then let's go ahead and place another one in here. And then let's go ahead and place another one down here. And I really like these bigger parks. They definitely have a lot of advantages over the small ones. But then let's go ahead. So we're going to do a playground, and then let's do the skate park as well. I really like the skate park asset a lot. And so I think we're going to place that like that. And then let's do a couple basketball courts on this side, and then maybe even a tennis court. These would be really nice amenities to live near. And these are things that you do sometimes see in neighborhoods. And so I did want to try to capture some of that. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. And then let's put the large playground in there. Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit better. And then that way, what we can do is actually just do the small playground kind of dotted around just to give people like a separate park. Like whenever you have big urbanized developments like this, it's really all about like the parks and stuff. And so let's go ahead and put a small park over here. Let's do the small playground right next to it. Perfect. And then let's put a small playground over here. And we got some pretty good coverage. We got a lot of parks. So let's maybe do that. And then let's do the dog park over here as well. And we'll go like that. And then let's move over to our office parks. So this big space in here would be really good for some fountains and maybe some walking areas. This would be kind of like the entrance to our neighborhood. So we're going to go ahead and place that right there. And then let's move over here. And most of this is going to be predominantly office and commercial. So we would really just want to get like some fun areas for people to kind of go and, have their break and stuff like that. Go like that. We'll go ahead and place this over here. Let's place that right there. Oh wait, we already have a big park in there. And so one of the things we'll do after everything kind of grows in, we're going to go back through, especially during my detailing time lapse, I'm going to be adding in pathways. I'm going to be doing some custom textures and stuff like that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and do some pathways around these neighborhoods, and then I'm just going to throw in some zoning real quick, and then we can come back and kind of look at everything. All right, so just a few seconds later, I finished the pathways, and it looks like I didn't really get any here. I'm just going to throw those in a second, but I went ahead and did pathways for pretty much everything, and a lot of these are going to be like little small areas, and you can see I even forgot this one too. I don't know what I'm doing. It was a lot of paths, and so that's the excuse I'm sticking with. There was a lot of paths, and so I just didn't see it all. But you know what? It's really cool. So these are going to be those areas where I can go through and kind of use some details to make it just look really cool and add in some custom park assets and stuff like that. like pergolas and gazebos, or even like benches and stuff. And so now what we're going to do, we can start zoning some of this in. And so we are utilizing the North American assets. And so I'm just going to go through and click them. You can go through and change the size for a lot of these. When it comes to low density, I don't really see it as like a non-starter. And so, but what we could do is maybe even row housing for here. And I really like the row housing for the North American assets. I think it's kind of cool. So we will go ahead and place these all the way around, and then we can go like this. And I intentionally left some of the spaces a little bit bigger so that you could get like some bigger homes in there. And yeah, so we'll go all the way around. This is actually going to be a good amount of housing. This is good. We've been in kind of dire need of something like this for a while. And so it's going to be really good. And I did leave, it's kind of funny, I zoned that in. I left that free for us to get some commercial space. And I don't want the commercial space on the inside. And of course, I'm having a little bit of issues with my zoning regulator. And so we're going to go ahead and go like that. And let's, yeah, so that's actually cool. It got 2 on this side and then 1 on that back side. I actually like that. And we could probably even do something similar to that on this corner. That could actually probably be good. So if we were to grab this small lane and then connect it up down here, and then grab this one and then connect it up down here, we could get rid of that pathway on the inside and then get rid of the homes. We're going to need to pause because they're going to want to rebuild real quick. And then let's go ahead and do a small pathway going around just to inhibit that zoning. We'll go just like that. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and connect it up in this corner because that's going to be a pretty important connection. It would be good to have maybe a crosswalk in there. Let's go ahead and add in just a small crosswalk because it's right in front of that school. Yeah, we'll go just like that. I think that that's smart. We're going to go just like that. And then now what we can do is actually come in here and make that commercial as well, which I think is going to be really good. So now we got a little bit of commercialized uses in here. We got some low density residential coming in all the way around. And then for the office space, I'm not just going to look at that. So we got the Rock Musician Mansion. I think that's because we're utilizing the North American assets. So for the office space, what we're going to do is we are going to place them around, but we're going to be strategically leaving some spaces empty for trees and stuff like that, and to just kind of make it look a little bit better. Like I don't personally think it looks the best when you just zone everything in for office space. So we can probably even go just like that. And then let's go ahead and go like this. And then we'll come back through with some pathways and then just kind of some trees to make it look a little bit better. So we'll go like this. Perfect. And then let's go ahead and fill in this section. We'll fill in these all the way around. I already intentionally messed up the zoning on that a little bit so that I put the pathway in there so that it would break up the zoning. And then for this side, what we're going to do is high density commercial, and we're actually going to zone this all the way down. This is going to be like the main shopping area, and so we really want to kind of provide that access for people. So we want to go like this, and then let's go ahead and connect this up to that connection, and then let's go ahead and connect this one up as well, just so that it hooks up to the office park. And then that way we can extend our high density commercial right there. And then I think that looks pretty good. I think we need to get office zoning in here. I did leave a little bit of space for some commercial in there. So let's go ahead and fill this in, fill that in. And then let's do some low density commercial around this outside. We'll do high density just for this little smidge. We'll keep that low density. And then let's do low density along this front side. This is really going to be a huge benefit for those people too. These are going to be your restaurants and stuff like that. And then it's kind of funny. I left the space empty. I didn't even really realize. It would be good if we got just a smidge of high density residential in here. All right, so we have all that growing in, and I already think this is looking really cool. I like the overall appeal of this. I like that we got this in here. I definitely think, so we're going to have a little bit of issues over here. Like it says high rent already, but with the metro line, we should really start getting a lot of people down here. And it does look like we need to upgrade this one. Let's go ahead and check out that other one as well, because I think we're probably going to need to upgrade this one too. Yeah, we do. The comfort really plays a big role, especially whenever you're dealing with Metro for some reason. I don't know. In my tests, it was like the second I upgraded it, it just worked so much better. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pump up that speed and then let all this kind of grow in, let it settle, and then we'll be able to see where we are at and how everything looks and make adjustments from there. Okay, and so just a few seconds later, we are finished. And honestly, I think this looks really good. I like this a lot. And so now what I need to do is just jump into a detailing time lapse. I'm probably even going to clean up these little sections. but I want to go through with just some finer details and just make this look a little bit better. I think I'm even going to fix this little curve. I've been kind of eyeballing this for a while, and what I want to do is just delete these and then actually reshape it, probably put some office space in there. Because one of the big problems is we just don't have a lot of workplaces over here. And so it'd be nice if we had workplaces in this direction as well. And that's why I think a downtown down here is probably in our future. Because we definitely, right now, people are just having to travel pretty far to get into our downtown to go to work every day. And so I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you on the other side. Okay, so after probably a couple hours, I am finished, and I did quite a bit. I spent a decent amount of time on some smaller details. Some other areas I didn't focus on as much, but overall, I think the aesthetic of this whole area looks really good. I'm still kind of on edge about this apartment complex. Go ahead and let me know what you guys feel about this. I might just turn that into low density because I kind of feel like it's a little out of place. Like what is it, just like a row of apartments, like a pocket of apartments or something? So yeah, there's a good chance I'll change that. But overall, I think it looks good. I added in a ton of trees. I focused on a few little pathways. So like this pathway is kind of like a green belt. A lot of times whenever you see neighborhoods like this, you would have like a recessed sidewalk. So you wouldn't even have the standard sidewalk. This would just be the sidewalk, and then it'd be decorated or landscaped with a bunch of trees. And a lot of times these look really cool. These do tend to be in more affluent neighborhoods, but I thought it looked really cool. I did add in quite a few trees just for the whole build. I feel like trees just tend to grab everything and kind of bring it together and make it look a little bit more realistic. And then over here, I did a couple custom plazas / parks. So I did this large park, and I thought this looked really cool. I wanted to do some planters and then some benches with some food stalls. And then I even did like a little amphitheater area, like maybe one of the offices could, rent this out and do some sort of, speech or something like that, or maybe like a commemoration of some kind. And then I ended up building this kind of cool plaza over here. I kind of wish there was a way for me to save this. I'm going to maybe jump into editor mode or something and see if there's some way I can grab this and then save it. If one of you guys do know a way, go ahead, let me know. And then I did add in a few residential neighborhoods back here. I think this looks really cool. I did another school because schooling seems to be really important. You need to have a lot of schools, especially you get the bonus for walking distance too. And so it's really nice. And then for the other areas, I did a lot of trees. I didn't really get too crazy with a lot of the smaller details in some of these areas, but I did do trees, and I think it looks really good. We actually did quite a bit. So I also added in this commercial district back here, and I think I need to kind of clean this up. I guess I didn't really look at this. I'd added it in and then kind of got distracted by some other things. And so I think that looks pretty good. I like that we got this little shopping mall back there too. All right, and so we did quite a bit on that episode. We ended up moving our cargo terminal. We got a new entrance to the freeway over here, which is fantastic. We even moved our little dairy house. We fully implemented our metro, and I just got so $36,000 a month. That's just crazy. That's so crazy to think about. And then you can see now that the blue line is actually the big line, and this is the line that does cut up and go all the way to the airport. And so that's kind of cool. I was kind of anticipating that in my test builds. I did that turn, and so I definitely kind of saw that coming. But I think we made some really good changes to the city, and I think this is really going to set us up for better profitability and growth in the future. And so if you enjoyed this episode, you will definitely enjoy the episode on your screen. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.